All right, all right. Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Chris Hopkins. This is Your Best Life Defined. How you doing today? I'm not going to say it. Okay, I'm doing great. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm doing great. Things are getting easier for me. I wake up every day and I think to myself, "Damn, when am I going to fall off the cliff?" Because you know, if you've been listening for a while, I have a cycle. It's like, oh, the world sucks. The world sucks. I'm finding out, you know where that comes from, right? That comes from finding your focus. Finding your focus. Me and Sandy have had this ongoing debate. Apparently, I like to call myself weak-minded because I don't know what else to do with what happens or how to describe what happens. But when I take in like negative, crappy information like the news, or I start reading articles, or I allow myself to engage in conversations that rub me the wrong way, it tends to affect me. It does affect me. I had to, when I worked at the federal prison, there were a lot of guys there and they had gun issues and people were worried about our guns being taken and this and that. And I'm not going to comment on what my position on it is on it, but I know that when I would get an email about politics or guns, what would happen is it would just drive me nuts. And then it didn't take very long and there I'd be grinding it out, angry or manipulated by that information. And what I found out after examining this thing called living your best life is that the foundation of that is to bring in information and things that actually improve the value and quality of your life. That is, in layman's terms, making it as simple as I can, is living fun. Are you enjoying this thing called living? What I found was that stuff wasn't working for me. So I started thinking about was, okay, what does work for me? And what I found was what works for me is for me to turn my focus inward. If you go back over the podcast over the past, I've said it hundreds of times, must be, but I've said it that part of the reason that I show up here every day is for me. Now, granted, I want to give you every opportunity in the world for you to live your life, to be able to say somewhere down the road, hey, listen, what he said was true. By focusing on what you do and by building a story around it, you can actually make it happen. I want that to happen. I want you to send me a message someday and say, hey, Chris, thanks. I listened to podcast 4863. It finally clicks. I'm on my way to my best life, right? Thank you very much. That's what I want from you, but by me showing up every day, it turns the focus in on what I believe. It turns the focus in on what I believe, and more than that, and more importantly than that, does it work? And what I'm telling you, does that work? You can't help but get better. I'm going to just continue to get better at this because guess who I think about when I do this? I think about the message. I think about, Chris, do you believe that crap? I think about maybe how to make it better, how to make it more interesting. And what the result of that's going to be that this will get better and it'll be more interesting, right? I'll become more entertaining, or maybe I'll just relax and start being me, and you'll start liking that. But the point I'm making here is that part of the reason that your life isn't where you want it to be, and even more than that, part of the reason you don't believe that there's any other way to live your life and that you are happier than ever, is because you really, how much time on any given day do you have to actually focus in on how you feel about the things you do every day? If you're like most people, you don't. There's music playing, there's a podcast to listen to, there's a phone call to make, there's social media to surf. There's some place to be. There's that ongoing list. What I hated when I was working is the ongoing list of steps, of the what's next. And I have that. But what I also have is the ability to control it. Because part of this focus, part of focusing on me is knowing that, you know what, this is cool. I dig it. I love doing it. I love the idea and the story around why I do it. But I'm going to focus on me from the standpoint of balance. And when you look at balance, what you're looking at is, this is not going to get in the way of the things I love to do. The minute I have to give up playing the guitar or disc golf, and this becomes that thing that encompasses my life, I'm out of balance, and it'll never happen. And the way we prevent that is to focus on ourselves. If you turn that around and you look at you, that same analogy applies, right? Think about it. There's a reason that your life looks like it does, and it's because, in part, you've kind of lost focus of who you are. And what I mean by that is, no, there's no doubt you believe that the life you're living is an amazing life. But compared to what? Compared to what you used to do when you was 18? Imagine being 18 years old, waking up suddenly in the life you're living today. Would it be something you'd like, oh hell, this is perfect? Hell no, you wouldn't, because when you were 18, your focus was truly on you. It was on the things you love to do, the things that inspire you. You were full of energy and goals and ideas. You didn't say no. You said, oh yeah, hell, we'll try that. Let's do that, right? And slowly and gradually, you fall into the trap. Fancy car, this is how you live a best life. This will make you famous. This will make you successful. Big house, oh big house. Everybody on social media loves a big house. You'll be famous, you'll be successful. Oh, over here, over there. Be about this, be about that. You see the analogy in that? You see the common ground in that? None of it has to do with anyone saying, hey, why don't try? Hey, have you tried being you? Have you tried being you? Oh man, you're cool just the way you are, bud. Maybe you should look inside yourself. Ask yourself, what do I really enjoy? And just because I'm supposed to believe that owning a house and the car and all this stuff is the American dream and it's going to make me happy, do I really have to believe that? Is it really true? You know how I can tell when you've actually spent some time focused on yourself? There's something you do that other people don't do, right? That's how you're hedging into that whole conversation with yourself about the truth about what you do every day, right? When there's things about you that aren't like everyone else. I mean, here's an example, and it's a small example, but we'll go there. When you prefer to spend time with your partner and with your family, and the majority of your activities are centered around that nucleus, right? That's when you know you're in line with the idea that family is important, that you value that time, that you value that interaction. When you know that you have to work out, not necessarily because it's always fun or not necessarily because you enjoy it, but because your focus is on living a long, healthy life. Your focus is on being able to keep up with your grandkids when you're 70 years old and they say, hey, Papa, you want to hike a 14er? And you can actually say, yeah, I think I will. That'll be good. Hey, Papa, you want to go play disc golf? Oh, yeah, I think I will. Want to go kayaking, Papa? Hell yeah, I think I will. I talk about Sandy and I a lot. I do, because that's my point of reference. This is the reality. This is my reality, right? But this entire podcast is focused on you. It is focused on me inspiring you to look at you, to take an honest view of who you are, so you can start taking those steps to change the things about your life that you've been convinced are amazing, but in the back of your mind, when you really sit down and you think about it, you go, nah, this sucks. And it's okay. That's the cool part about it. It is okay. In fact, it won't be okay for your friends. If you tell someone that you love you're changing your life, and the more drastic it is, the more resistance you're going to get. But that's how you start living your best life. Because I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, there are things about your life you do now that suck. And if you were to sit down and be honest with yourself about why you do them, it's because, well, what other choice do I have? I don't know. It's your life. What other choice do you have? Do you have to be in debt? No, you don't have to be in debt. Who gives a shit if you rent an apartment and don't buy a house? How many millions of dollars do we piss away every year, or thousands of dollars on crap for nothing? If you want to go with that analogy about, not renting is a bad investment, so is eating at Carl Jr. So is eating at a restaurant. Drinking beer until 2 in the morning, 4 nights or 4 weekends a month is a bad investment. Buying a snowboard or buying all the equipment for skiing is a bad investment. I don't know anyone who's making money on the slopes, right? And yet they're thousands of dollars, right? Ski lift, season lift tickets. What's ironic about that is that points out the scam in it all. That points out the ridiculousness of these ideas we've been given about why we make the choices, or more than that, why we must make the choices we make. Somebody's not ready for this. I guarantee that. There are people who are not ready for this, because the problem you have is that you're sitting where you are right now, and if you're like most people, you're probably sitting right at the top of your means. Your money is about where it's at, and that there's very little time left, and you have this schedule, and you have this long list of obligations. And what's really ironic is you don't have a true system for escaping it. You don't have a true system for escaping it. Pick it. Pick it. Make that decision. Pick something that inspires you. Pick something you can wrap your head around. Pick something you can get behind, you can brag about, you can talk about. If you ain't talking about it, if you ain't bragging about it, it isn't big enough. I can guarantee that. Notice this? I don't have any problem. I don't feel any shame. Gary Vee says, be shameless about self-promotion. What do you think I'm doing? I'm being shameless. I can believe it. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks about this. The only thing that really matters is what I think about it, because that's going to determine whether I show up again or not. And how did I get there? I focused on me. I said, hey, Chris, this is your game. Hey, Chris, this is where you need to be. Hey, Chris, let's do this thing, right? And guess what? Bam, here we are. Here we are. The focus is on you. Ask yourself one question. Is there anything in my life I would like to change? Pick that thing and then say to yourself, how can I change it? Or better yet, start the story by imagining how great it's going to be. Imagine how great it would be for you to be debt-free. Tired of struggling? You're sitting down at the kitchen table with that stack of bills, you and your partner, and before it's over, you guys aren't talking. Because you're both at fault. You both contribute to that burden you carry. And neither one of you want to focus on what it's going to take to fix it. Don't focus on what it's going to take to fix it. Focus on what your life will be like after you fix it. Guess what? Oh, we're out of debt. Let's see, what are we going to do with all our money now? Oh, let's get the catalog out. Let's get on the internet. Let's see where we can go. Oh, let's see what we can do now that we're free of debt, right? Wow, that changes the whole story. It changes the whole momentum, because all of a sudden you have something to work for. You have something to work for. You have something to plan around. And I don't mind acquiring skills. My typing's really good because I decided to write a book, right? And the story behind the book is that, well, hell, if I write this book, I'm going to be famous and all that. I'm going to have residual income because it's that good, right? Doesn't matter whether that's a reality or not. I can make revisions once the book's written. But that works for me to motivate me to take the time to plug in and get some writing done every chance I get, because without that, I won't get the book done. And that's that execution part of that. And what prompts me to execute? The story. And what brings it all around? The focus. What do I want? What do I want to be debt-free. I am debt-free. I want to have financial independence. I want to have more choices in my life than I'll ever be able to live, right? More things that we can do. It's like, oh my God, we could do this and this and this. Well, yeah, Dad, but you're only going to live this long. I know. What do I choose? Oh my God. I pray you have that problem. I pray that because of the effort I put in, you wake up one day and you're like, oh, my head hurts. Why is your head hurt? Well, because I have so many choices. I followed his plan and I can do anything. Oh my God, what do you want to do? Is that the least of your worries? Probably. I hope it is in the future. I hope you wake up and you're like, God dang, what do you want to do today, baby? Oh, I don't know. Let's do something. All right, let's go. Because that's when life gets good. That's when life gets better than good. That's what it's about, to live your best life. So keep that in mind. Focus on something, grab a hold of something, be energized about something. You need to find something that inspires you. Get after it today, because you're running out of time. Let's not forget the kindness, guys. Thanks for showing up. And as always, just remember, today's your day. Make it a good one.